2022-2023 budget has, of course, come with many surprises and the usual give and take. But just who is paying the heaviest price and who will be smiling tonight? Our business editor, Julian Amboko, has been crunching the numbers all day long and now begins our coverage with a quick look at who gained and who lost from Ukur Yatani's final budget. Julian's.
Right. Many thanks, Smriti Vidyarthi. As you rightly said, it's been a long day, but we are glad to be here to be unpacking the numbers in the final measure. So now let's take a look at some of the winners, as we like to call them, and losers. And looking here, if we start with the pharmaceutical manufacturers, what has been proposed by the National Treasury is to make them VAT exempt. Now, the way value-added tax works is that you are either standard rated at 16%, you are either zero rated or exempt. So in the case where they are exempt, what it means is that they will not be able to claim input VAT from the taxman at the end of the day, but that should be giving some sort of relief. Importers of eggs for the hatchery business, you'll remember in the last financial year we had this running debate around excise tax on something as basic as imported eggs. Now it looks like the Treasury has had a change of heart as far as that is concerned. Let's look at livestock farmers, and what the Treasury has proposed here is to scale down export levy on hides and skin. And what this does is to boost their access to external markets. Now, consumers of medical oxygen, urine bags, adult diapers are all now VAT exempt. So pretty much same thing that was being done at the pharmaceutical manufacturers is now being done here. So giving us some cushion for those of us who make use of these products. Now, donors to charitable organizations, what the Treasury has proposed is that your donations should be tax deductible. Essentially, what that means is that when you're finally computing your taxable income, you'll be able to deduct the amount you have donated and therefore at least get a bit of a cushion as far as that is concerned. Now, let's look at the flip side. Who are some of the losers? And we start right here, because what Treasury CS Ukur Yatani proposed today is that any advertisement on issues around alcohol, betting, etc. will now be subject to excise tax at 15%. So, my good friend the CFO, if you're watching, this one is for you. The next one is Kenyans pursuing tax disputes at the High Court. Now, this one really caught some of us by surprise. And what the Treasury is proposing is that if you have an appeal on a tax matter which has to go beyond the Tax Appeals Tribunal and go to the High Court, the first thing you must do is to deposit at least 50% of the equivalent of the disputed amount. Now, if you want to appreciate how serious this is, consider the case we had about 2 weeks ago where tax arrears were running to about 22 billion shillings. Now, you have to deposit 11 billion shillings before you are able to proceed with the appeal. Now, that's quite heavy and it could stifle access to justice. Motorcycle operators, not quite losers, but let me just give some context here. So what the Treasury has proposed is that going forward, anyone who is on a tricycle or bicycle use of motorized transport should seek comprehensive insurance coverage. It might have a dent on your pocket, but I believe it's to your best interest as far as safety is concerned. And finally, users of e-cigarettes, so what the Treasury has proposed is a switch in terms of the consideration of excise tax from a shilling per unit to 70 shillings per milliliter. So this basically just gives you a snapshot of the winners and losers in today's budget. Remember, the new tax measures are supposed to mobilize an extra 50.4 billion shillings. Back to you, Smriti.